how's it going, everyone? It is Skullzi here with the latest and the greatest gaming news. Today I want to talk about all the early Cyberpunk 2077 reviews, which might be a surprise to some of you, because I haven't really been talking all that much about Cyberpunk 2077 compared to a lot of the other channels that also talk about Bethesda Game Studios news, and that isn't because I'm not a fan of CD Projekt Red or because I'm not hyped for Cyberpunk 2077, because indeed I am to both of those things. In fact, I am so hyped for Cyberpunk 2077 that I kinda went on media blackout about this game. That doesn't mean I'm not as equally hyped, or maybe more hyped, for Starfield or The Elder Scrolls 6, but I just made the conscious decision, for whatever reason, to try to step away a little bit from Cyberpunk 2077. However, that doesn't mean I'm not going to be reporting on this game from now on, because in fact, I have a lot of content planned for Cyberpunk 2077. I'm going to be streaming the game, and I have a first impressions video for the game as well. I didn't get to play the game early or anything like that. My channel isn't big enough yet for that kind of clout, unfortunately. However, I do want to talk about all the early reviews that are going down right now in Games Media Town, and there is a slight problem to at least how many of these reviews are being portrayed and digested by the gaming community, and that's just kind of what I want to talk about today. I want to kind of set the record straight with all of that, and I also want to talk about how this Cyberpunk 2077 release situation may have actually went better if they didn't allow early reviews for this game. Now, first of all, none of this is going to be meant as any disrespect towards any content creators or gaming news websites or any review people out there who did put up an early review of Cyberpunk 2077, because most, if not all of these people, did set the record straight saying that they were playing the game before the day one patch. And all of this is wrapped up into what I want to talk about in today's video, but I just wanted to say this is not meant as any disrespect towards any news outlets, content creators, or anyone out there that was lucky enough to get a copy of this game to review early. They did do a good job reviewing it. They were very factual about the game that they had in their hands that they were playing, and much respect to everyone and all the reviews out there right now. But I did just want to mention something in regards to all these early reviews, because the Cyberpunk 2077 situation is kind of a unique launch situation. And what I mean by that is anyone who has somewhat been following any of these Cyberpunk 2077 gameplay leaks might kind of know what I'm talking about here. I haven't been looking at the leaks, but I have been just kind of seeing people's reaction to these leaks, and everyone has been saying that the game seems to be very buggy. And this opinion is also mirrored by anyone who has an early review copy of Cyberpunk 2077 who has been putting up their early reviews for this game within the last day or so. There are a lot of huge YouTubers out there and pretty big, well-known gaming news outlets as well, who all are putting up early reviews for Cyberpunk 2077, and overall the game is getting great reviews. For the most part, it's like 9s out of 10s, but there are some 7s and 8 out of 10s as well, and a common trend or reason for any of these negative reviews, or basically anything that someone would say is a bad part about Cyberpunk 2077, or the worst part about it at least right now, is always revolving around the buggy state that it's in. There are a lot of visual bugs in the game, but at least most of them are kind of centered on only being visual bugs and not like game-breaking things. There are some annoying bugs though where the player has to like reload their game in order for an elevator terminal to work because it was bugged out and didn't work before, but for the most part there are actually a ton of visual bugs in Cyberpunk 2077 right now. But you gotta keep in mind here, and this is something that all these reviewers have actually been mentioning in their reviews, is that the game in its state right now is before the day one patch, and the reason that Cyberpunk 2077 was delayed until December was legit, literally because of all of the bugs that these reviewers are reporting on and that all these game leaks are actually portraying right now. The game is definitely buggy. CD Projekt Red isn't denying that, and in fact that's why the game was delayed. There is a huge, like 32 gigabyte day one patch that's supposed to not only fix like the majority, if not all the bugs in the game right now, but also this day one patch will add several new gameplay features as well. I don't know exactly what these gameplay features are supposed to be. I don't think CD Projekt Red has said what they're going to be either, but they did say this day one patch is going to fix like the majority of all these issues, and I mean the day one patch is 32 gigabytes, so that's a pretty big patch. It's like half the size of the actual preload for the game over on Steam, so I mean this is a huge patch, so I totally believe that it would fix the majority of these visual bugs. And that's the thing that I kind of wanted to point out about in regards to these early reviews, and that's why I said no disrespect to them, because the majority of them also said in their articles, in their reviews, in their videos, that this was without this important day one patch, and that's something we had to keep in mind. And something I've seen like the community say in comments and stuff was, why are the reviewers mentioning all these bugs and giving the game a lesser review score based on bugs that are just going to get fixed here in a few days? Well, that just speaks to their actual integrity. They're reviewing the game they have in their hand. These reviewers, these journalists are reviewing what they have in their hand, and they're reviewing what they have in front of them. For all they know, this day one patch may not actually fix all these issues like CD Projekt Red is claiming, and then how would they look if they didn't actually report on these bugs, if the day one patch didn't fix the majority of these issues? Well, I don't think that's going to happen. While I do think the day one patch will fix the majority of the visual bugs and stuff in CP 2077, it's still professionally important to review the game that you have in your hands, so that's why they're reporting on these bugs. However, there are a few gaming review sites that actually give this game a 7 out of 10 based upon these bugs, and I think that might be a little too harsh. I think maybe an 8 out of 10 is more feasible just compared to how amazing this game is if the bugs weren't there. Everyone is saying this is an amazing game, and the only negative are the visual bugs and perhaps the quest log not being like organized in a user-friendly kind of way. But if the game is so amazing, to give it a 7 out of 10 based on all of that, especially when the day one patch is indeed around the corner, is kind of overstepping that negativity Cyberpunk 2077 clickbait, in my opinion. However, 8 out of 10s, 9 out of 10s, totally feasible. Perhaps a 9 out of 10 might be a little bit too favorable because we don't know how effective this day one patch will be, but either way, I just wanted to set the record straight to anyone getting worried a bit seeing all the low scores, or at least lower scores than you may have expected for Cyberpunk 2077. Not only is this an early review, but this day one patch is going to be like a huge, substantial patch to fix the bugs that the game actually was delayed for in the first place, so definitely keep that in mind. And not only that, there's going to be new features added into the game as well, which if these features were in the game to begin with, I'm sure they would have also elevated the review score for the game. And again, I'm not pandering towards CD Projekt Red or Cyberpunk 2077. I'm not trying to say, oh, the game is getting low reviews and that's a travesty. I'm just trying to make sure everyone looks at things in a realistic situation. I've definitely called out CD Projekt Red and Bethesda Game Studios and any other game developer in the past for negative situations that they deserve to be called out for, but I try to be a balanced realist in terms of gaming news, and that's my goal with this video. It seems like Cyberpunk 2077 is going to be an amazing game, and I hope that the day one patch can actually fix some of these issues. And bear in mind, there's also a massive next-gen update for the game as well, which is kind of weird because it seems like it's next-gen anyway with ray tracing and all that, but whatever. I'm excited for this big update next year as well. Hopefully they add new content into the game. Maybe they can release the next-gen update alongside the first major single-player expansion or DLC or whatever it's going to be called. Either way, that's everything I wanted to talk about in today's video. I'm hyped for Cyberpunk 2077. It seems like the game is going to be pretty decent, and what I want to know is if you're hyped for the game as well. Do you already have the game preloaded and pre-installed, or are you going to give this game a little bit of time to see how it goes and how all the actual reviews after the game is launched go as well? Let me know down in the comments below, and if you enjoyed the content, be sure to like the video, subscribe, and turn notifications on. If you want to help grow the channel and the community, be sure to share this video, as sharing content is the best way to help grow a channel and the community, and this video was brought to you by the following amazing people. If you want to get a video shout out like this, you can support the channel over on Ko-fi, Patreon, or here on YouTube as an exclusive channel member. Links for all this and more are down in the description below, and as always, thank you for watching. Be sure to tune in next time, when hopefully I'll see you in Night City, but not literally because the multiplayer, never mind, jeez.
It just works.